My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't realize. I thought I deleted this stream. Did not. I got a call from young Pharaoh. Asked me to come on his channel. We went over there. He's got, a couple 100,000 subscribers. Trying to do our best to do what we can to try to keep from getting to the place where we get into a hot race war. There's a lot of anger on both sides, a lot of anger in the black community. We understand what's going on. We just hope that we can be part of the difference. Sorry for the camera. I've been using my phone because it's so much better and it's set for the phone and not for the camera I've got here. But I still think that we are the real enemy. I know it's not a think. We know that the real enemy is not the blacks, the Mexicans, the Asians. The real enemy of the blacks is not the whites. It's like this. Slavery comes up a lot when you talk about the subject, and we're going to get to our subject here in a minute, but let's just pretend that we're all on a big plantation, okay? It's civil war, and it was Martians against Earthlings instead of North against South. And we're in this plantation, okay? It doesn't even have to be Martians versus Earthlings. We're in a plantation, and in that plantation, they got one slave house, like all plantations did. I showed you Andrew Johnson's plantation way back in the day. You got one plantation that's got all the black slaves. One slave house got all the black slaves. One slave house got all the white slaves. What sense does it make for the white slaves to go to war against the black slaves or the black slaves to go to war against the white slaves? The real problem is up there in the big house, in the plantation house. And if there's going to be a war, that's where the war should be directed. Right now, they've convinced us, the people in the big house have convinced us that it's the people in the other slave house that is a problem. Now, we can win the people. Let's say that the blacks launched a race war and beat the whites. Or let's say the whites launched a race war and beat the blacks. Guess what? You may be, you won, but you're still in the plantation and you're still a slave. What good is it for you to be the only slaves on the plantation? That means you got to do twice the work. So I'm saying to white people to say, oh, let's just kill all these black people. It ain't the black people. I'm saying to the black people that want to kill all these white people, it ain't the white people. We're both slaves in a different slave house. And the real master is the one that's in the elite house, the plantation house. And we need to be waging war on the elite and not on other slaves. And I'm not talking about a hot lock and load war. We're not at that point yet. We're talking about unindoctrinating ourselves. We're talking about realizing we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. We're talking about realizing who the real enemy is and letting them know you've got two choices. You can go peacefully or you can not go peacefully, but you got to go. And I would rather have people like young Pharaoh with me than to have people like young Pharaoh against me. So let's talk a little bit about tag, track, and ID. I didn't even know about this. I didn't even hear about this until last night. Glenn sent me some stuff that I looked at, and the stuff that he sent me, I'm not really on board with. We won't talk about it, but there is a belief that there's a war going on against us, and there really is. And this fits right in with what young Pharaoh and I were talking about. And like Cynthia says, it's so much deeper. There is a war, and it's a war from the elites. And like I just said on young Pharaoh's show, we've got to remember that there's a people now that call themselves the chosen people. And we get mad about that. And I got these on because I was 2 hours with him and my eyes are strained. They call themselves the chosen people. And the fact of the matter is that they are the chosen people. They're the chosen people of the God of the Old Testament. They're the chosen people of the God of the New Testament. And they're the chosen people of the God of the Quran. But that is not the real God. And that God and the people that are working for him are the real enemy. It's not the black people, white people. It's not the white people, black people. It's the people that work for the people that run this fear and guilt blood magic control matrix. And you hear me talking about, and you hear me chewing you out, and you hear me giving you hell. I got to switch from young Pharaoh mode back into regular mode. Young Pharaoh and I keep it really, really real, and we talk really, really real talk, and maybe I should do that all the time. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? But here I try to clean it up and make it more, probably less real. I don't know. Tell me what you think about that. The way we talk with young Pharaoh, is that the way we should do it all the time? Or do we need to be more, a little more politically correct, I guess you would say here? But anyway, we have these people that are fighting against us. And they've convinced us to fight against each other instead of them. And you hear me giving you hell and yelling at you and screaming at you and calling you stupid because you watch certain channels. And I do think you're stupid for watching them. I really do. But now there's even more reason not to watch them, because there are some channels that we can watch that are filled with Masonic, MK Ultra imagery. There's butterflies. There's 33s. There's we watch other channels that are filled with blood magic control matrix imagery. Carry the cross, Savior, Father, Lord, Jesus, salvation. And we still watch these. And that's stupid, because we can't get out of here and get to our next level of development until we free ourselves from the blood magic addiction. Period. If you're watching stuff about revelation and tribulation and seals and trumps and temples and marks of the beast and collapse, that is blood programming, blood magic programming. And it's dumb to watch it, because it puts you in a low frequency, and it keeps you in a low frequency. It prevents you from raising your frequency and raising your spirituality. But it's more important than that, ladies and gentlemen, because there's this thing now that I guess I knew, but I don't really know until now. It's called tag, track, and ID. So here's what happens. And I'm not a fear porn guy. Here's what happens. When you go to these shows and these channels that are, how does a person show huge amounts of copyrighted material and never get a strike and never get taken down? They're connected. How does a person that says they're from Silicon Valley and from Hollywood and from Israeli intelligence and covered with MK Ultra Masonic imagery say they're not? And try to keep you into fear porn and try to keep you into following them as the guru instead of being your own guru. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, what happens is this. When you go to those channels, not only are you debased spiritually, not only are you debased energetically, not only are you debased intellectually, but you're also tagged as a viewer of those channels. They tag you. Oh, this IP address, and you don't want somebody to have your social security number. Your IP address, I can tell you a whole lot more. Where you live, what you do, where you go, what you do, when you do, what you watch, when you watch, how you watch. They tag you. So you're tagged as a watcher of that type of programming. And what do they know about people that watch that kind of programming? They're suggestible. They'll believe anything. They'll give money to anything. They'll watch anything. They'll believe anything. And you get identified as being that type of a person. Not only do they ID you, tag you, they track you. They know where you go. They know what you're doing. They know who you're doing it with. They know when you're doing it. They know where, and they know how. And they identify you as being of that group. And if the time ever comes to round bitches up, who are they going to round up? I'm just saying, it's a possibility. So not only are you not only are you either asleep or very, very unsophisticated. You're either asleep or you're stupid. Let's not even pull punches. But you're allowing yourself to be identified with that group. They are going to tag you. They are going to track you. They have identified you, and you will be lumped in with them. So it's something else to think about. Tag, track, and ID. So not only do you have just plain out intelligence reasons for not being involved in that programming, not only do you have financial reasons for not being involved in that programming, because the more you support it, the more you're going to get of it. Not only do you have spiritual, energetic reasons as it's pushing you down for not being involved with that programming, now you've got rationale not being involved with that programming because you don't want to be tagged, tracked, and ID'd as that kind of a person. And that's really the whole subject of that talk. Let's go into the chat room and see what you folks have to say about this. And I wanted to show you something that I found really weird. I found this to be really, really weird. And maybe I'm just getting too conspiratorial. That's possible. I don't think so, but it's possible that I'm just getting too conspiratorial. Now I got to figure out the best place to show you the best way to show you this, because it's a long story, but let me show you. I'll just share it with you this way, because it's just really curious to me. Really, really curious to me. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Why, ladies and gentlemen? And that's not what I want to show you. Why is it running away from me? It's like it's running and it doesn't want to be found. It's running and it doesn't want to be found, but we're gonna find it. Okay, I think you're seeing it now. And this, it just hit me. Like, how is this? Why is this? It's just weird. They're showing us, ladies and gentlemen, now all these places are watching the Super Bowl. And what I found really, really odd is they felt the need to tell us that now the Super Bowl is being watched at the South Pole, which is, guess what? Antarctica. And not only that, but the Super Bowl not only being watched at Antarctica, but it's also being watched on the International Space Station. I just found that really odd. Why do they feel the need to point out the fact that they're watching it down here where Admiral Byrd saw all the other land? They're watching it in Antarctica, which we know there's weird stuff happening down there continuously. Plus, they want us to know that in their fake as hell International Space Station, they're going to be pretending to watch the Super Bowl. I just thought that was kind of weird and just wanted to share that with you. So feel free to comment about that if you'd like. I just thought it was really, really weird and just kind of an odd thing to be presenting. And how do I get rid of this down here? An odd thing to be presenting. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the couple of things I wanted to bring to you for sure. What do you think about the Kobe Bryant death? Not much. I've really invested very, very little thought in it. And what I do think is that there's been too much thought invested in the Kobe Bryant thing. And I'll just leave it at that because that's all I really know. Yeah. When you start out your sentence with the Bible says, you probably know that it's not going to get shown. Elites, followers of El, that's the point we made. El is Yahweh, the God of the Jews. El is the Lord, the God of Christians. El is Allah, the God of Muslims. And he's the enemy. And that group of people that say they're his chosen people, they are. And they work for the bad guy. And they're working against us. And we've got to realize that and act appropriately. And that's as far as I'm going into that. You do have to look at the man in the mirror. Absolutely, 100%. To be honest, it's not a war against flesh. Well, it is a war against flesh, but it's a war against elite flesh because there's people in flesh. And the thing that we have to realize is, oh, it's the chosen people. They're the problem. They're really not the problem. Because above the chosen people is the God that they work for. So even if he got rid of the chosen people, you still got the God, and he'll just choose another people. So you got to starve the God, and that's what we're doing by unindoctrinating ourselves. We're not worshiping him or them anymore under any name via any text or scripture. And then we have to do what we can to disempower all the people that work for him. Opt out. Stop being a part of the things that they're a part of. And we have to defeat them. And history has shown that they can be defeated. And if it's been done once, it can be done twice, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't get a shot of C60, but that would have been a really, really good idea. YP sounds fake. Tracy is not a fan of young Pharaoh. She thinks he sounds fake. I don't know, Tracy. I really don't know. To me, he sounds real, but I have been known in the past to associate with people that I thought were real that turned out to be fake as hell. And you could name the names. I don't need to. So I will be on guard. And it's like young Pharaoh even said, I don't know. I think I like Jeff. I don't know. He doesn't know, and I don't know. But at least even if he is fake, the information that we're getting out is true. Even if he isn't real, the information that we're getting out is, and at least there's some discussion, at least there's some interaction, at least there's some thinking going on. Now, I know there's nastiness on both sides of the aisle. And let's face it, black folks is fed up. And they also been fed with a bunch of bullshit that doesn't help. But it is what it is. We are where we are. And history is history. But sooner or later, man, we got to get past what has been and stop worrying about what could be and take care of what is and deal with what is right here and right now. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. The elite do laugh at Democrats and Republicans fighting, and they also laugh at blacks fighting against whites and whites fighting against blacks. It's silly. It's silly. Silly, silly, silly. Let's see what else we got. Be yourself. Thanks. I will try. That's all I can do anyway. Let's see. I met you from Young Pharaoh, says Baby Acolyte. Love you already for what you have given me in such a short time. Well, we certainly salute you right back and appreciate you for that. I use the F-bomb literally. It's such a versatile word. It really is. It can be a noun. It can be an adjective. It can be a verb. I really like the word. Besides, it's kind of fun to say. I don't know how I got to be such a potty mouth, but I am. And Cynthia's like, wow, I didn't know that you talked like that. Yeah, I do a little bit every now and then. Whatever your gut tells you, most can spot fakeness. I agree 100%. This is very well stated. Thank you. And I agree with that 100%. Peace be on you too. Let's see. Jama's not liking the discussions with young Pharaoh. Just don't prefer it. I think it breeds hostility. It makes me feel like I'm in a very unsophisticated chat room. I don't know. Sometimes the things that are most needed to be said are the most difficult to listen to. But I'm hearing you, and I'm evaluating, and we are doing and making decisions and filtering and watching on a continual basis, as I sure he is too. Keep the nice vamps from getting hungry. Don't you think we should know the good as well as the bad? I think we're covering that, Linda. I think that it's been as real as it could be. Is controlled opposition involved? Possibly. We need to keep our mind open We need to keep our mind open, absolutely, and we need to be open to these things. It feels like an ambush. I'm tired of that anger, and we are tired of that anger. And I've told Pharaoh that. White people are tired of getting blamed for stuff they didn't do. That's a reality. And black people are tired of the conditions they've been subject to. So it's going to call for responsibility on both sides. And it's going to call for concessions on both sides. And it's going to call for trust on both sides. And that may be in very, very short supply, ladies and gentlemen. Cynthia says we got to start somewhere. All good things come from hard work and putting yourself out there. It is tough stuff. And I guarantee you, Pharaoh's not doing it because it's fun. Well, it is kind of fun, and we're both kind of radical. But I guarantee you, he's taken a lot of heat. Why are you talking to that white devil? Why are you talking to that white boy? I've seen people say, why are you calling that white man, sir? Because he says, yes, sir. And, it's not sir. But it's tough. And it's hard. But I've often found, and how many of you have ever found anything that was really worth having that was easy and simple and didn't cost you anything? Usually there's a very symmetrical, there's a very symmetrical scale. The worth of something usually requires nearly or even more effort to obtain it. That which we obtain too easily, we value too lightly. So, yeah, sometimes it's work. Sometimes it is work. There is a line. There's no doubt about that. There is a line. Cynthia, a Hoodoo Queen, says there's a line too, and we definitely believe there is. There is spiritual warfare. Pardon me, it was a long show involved, without a doubt. It's tough. It's tough. It even stumps Tracy Dyer, and Tracy only wants to be Tracy. Absolutely. I don't know how we're going to jump from the Young Pharaoh show directly to a live stream, but boom, there it is. And we're doing it because it's just what we do. Being strong is overrated. Yeah, well, honey, that's my job. You just be a girl, and you're the strongest person I've ever met. So I think you're doing pretty well. Guess what comes after tag, track, ID? Then the targeting starts. Yep. Absolutely. So, I mean, you can watch that stuff if you want to watch, but don't whine when you suffer the consequences. I didn't even read this. I enjoy the internet. I see what's happening. I'm at the crossroads. I don't even know what that means. But yeah, be careful. Run with the dogs. Ashley Bavarian, if you lay down with the dogs, you get the fleas. I don't know if you could get them running with the dog, but I get your point. I get your point. More of us are getting too old and wise to fall to deceivers. We're even being tracked. Wow, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Yeah, this is a good point too, Cynthia. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's a cliche because it's demonstrably true. Absolutely. Thank you. I could use some hugs right now. I appreciate you so much. Give you a salute for that. Thank you very, very much. Animal Farm's a great. I think it's an analogy, not a parody. But I'm a grammar Nazi, so I'm sorry if I offended you with that. Shoot that video about the smartphone that was still tracked with no cell phone service. Ooh, it's not a conspiracy. Yeah, definitely, definitely. This chat on this channel was rough as well. Next time we're gonna have to block the vicious ones. Yeah, just block those fools. Just be done with them. Let's see. What else we got here? Super Bowl coming up. Yeah. I mean, we're in the area of one of the teams, but I'm just not into the Super Bowl. I'm really not into the Super Bowl anymore. It's just it's just a show, and we don't need it. We don't need it. We really don't. What does this say? Have to focus on the elite. That's right. They are the ones in the plantation house. We are just occupying different slave houses, and we've got to get to the point where we realize that. We've got to get to the point where we realize that, and we take control of it. Thank you, Jama. And this is 100% true. That's why we don't spend much time on the porch. We don't spend much time on the porch. If you have a thought concept from someone else and live it out, it goes against your divinity, you're living a lie. That's true. That's true. Holly really connects to the subject matter with young Pharaoh. She respects the discourse. So yeah, we got both. We got the pros and we got the cons, and hey, we'll do what we do and we'll see what happens. We really will. Young Pharaoh has helped me out with some stuff technically that's going to be very powerful and helpful to the channel. So I do appreciate him very much. What's this one say? I wonder if the races were reversed and the whites were the minority in the U.S. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. And actually, Robert, USN vet, third generation, was talking about that. And he was in South Africa during the apartheid. And he says it's worse here now than there. So we've got some challenges ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. We've got and you know, I don't know why would you even feel the need to type this? And why don't you, it's easy for someone that sits on the sidelines to it's easy to sit on the sidelines and criticize the people that are engaged in the battle. Shame on you. I don't know why I even showed that. Oh, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, this is one of those idiots that just needs to be blocked right here. So guess what? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, this is interesting. Conspiracy, Super Bowl. That's a good one. That's a good one. No hug, but how about a fist bump? I'll take that too. Boom. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? We're not going to show that one. I grew up in the South. I see YP's points. It's a very difficult thing to explain. I see all sides. Says Jeff did good. Thank you. Absolutely. She said it's got a child and grandkids with mixed blood. That's tough. That is tough. It really is. It really is. It really is. All right, folks. I think we're just about at the end of this. And yeah, good stuff. Interesting stuff. Keep the tag and track in mind when you're going through the internet. Keep it in mind. That's all I'm suggesting. And there's really no good reasons to be watching that kind of content. It brings you down. It keeps you down. And it can get you in some really bad places as far as the tag tracking and IDing goes. Folks, I've been at this about 2 hours and 45 minutes so far. I'm thinking about this myself, getting a VPN. That's important, a virtual private network. They're not that expensive. Hello, Cajun Queens Tarot. Nice to see you. It's one of those things where it's not such a bad idea. I think I'm probably going to get one. I'm worried that it would slow down my performance, but maybe not. So yeah, you can't be too careful, and there's no wrong, I think, in protecting yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I know I keep hearing this thing about, admiralty law and it's a birth and I just, just because people say that over and over again, I can't get it in my mind and it started with this law that created the District of Columbia. Yeah, but that's not the United States. That's it. Don't send me a bunch of emails. I'm not going to read them. It just doesn't ring true to me right now. It doesn't ring true to me right now. doesn't ring true to me right now. So anyway, Tracy, it's true. I don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me, and doesn't mean just because people say it doesn't make it true to me. And I know it doesn't to you too, but I'm not buying it right now. Somebody's gonna have to show me some real documentation, not there's fringe on the flag and a birth is a birth and the court is like a port. Come on, man. You got to show me more. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Charlie, quit saying stuff over and over again, or we'll put you in timeout. Trump is shuttering the corporation. I hope so. If it really is a corporation, it's called the Scooby Congregation. I'll check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for being here, seeking after truth. I did want to leave you that tag, track, and ID little, bug in your ear. So there you go. For Tracy Dyer, our moderator extraordinaire, and for Cynthia, I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. Please do give us a thumbs up and a thumbs down on the way out, and please do subscribe to this channel if you're not, or if you have been subscribed, make sure you still are, because they have been dumping people off without their knowledge. Tuesday night, we'll be on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. I believe the first 2 hours. You can check their website to make sure. That's going to be a great time. Thank you so much, Minnie Main. I do appreciate it. And as Cynthia says, we do wish you all the very best. Remember, you are divine, sovereign, and free. It's easier to be fooled than it is to convince yourself that you've been fooled. But that's why you've got to unindoctrinate yourself. Thank you so much, JJ. I appreciate it very much. Now, that's what I'm talking about. JJ's ready. Salute to you, JJ. And thanks to you for subscribing. I know that things are bad. You're in one slave house. We're in the other slave house. The real battle's against the guy in the big house. If we end up killing each other, so what? We're the only slaves left in the plantation. We got to do twice the work. Let's find a way to get together, because I would much rather have somebody like JJ on my side than have to face him down. We're stronger together, and we really are fighting the same battle. And I know things have been bad, but we got to deal with things the way they are right now. At least we're talking. At least we're having conversations. At least we're working together. And if we're not careful, if we keep talking and we keep working together, we just might, if we're not careful, come up with a solution. So salute to JJ, Young Pharaoh, and his great channel. And we appreciate you all so very much. And I'll see you again real soon. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. It is time for all of us to unindoctrinate ourselves. And that goes way beyond just religion, ladies and gentlemen. And there's never been a better time than right now to start unindoctrinating yourself.